Well, hey there, this is Joe Van Cleve. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Typewriter video series. Today we're coming from the foothills of the Sandia Mountains and the Elena Gallegos open space area at the Kiwanis Nature Overlook. And I've brought with me my Hermes 3000 stripped down so-called naked writer typewriter for some outdoor nature typewriting. Well, because this is a portable typewriter, you can take it places. And to illustrate this, if you go visit Robert Messinger's Oz Typewriter blog article dated today, May 23rd, 2016, he has a great article about all kinds of different pictures of people taking typewriters in all kinds of different public settings, outdoor venues or whatever. But today we are in a nature area with a typewriter. And my purpose for doing this was actually I wanted to investigate some ideas I had for just typing up vignettes. Just capturing some kind of literary typewritten thoughts, impressions, ideas of this nature area. It's a pond surrounded by reeds and bushes. It's fed from a stream from the Sandia Mountains, and we have this wooded overlook with little portal windows to look into it and kind of a rough open ceiling, and it's a very great place, birds and everything here, so it's very inspirational, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here. You know, I have this idea that I took this typewriter out here. I could have taken a pencil and a journal book, but I was making an analogy between typewriters, writing, and photography. And I think the journal book and the pencil is kind of like a point-and-shoot camera. It's for quick, brief glimpses, sketches, impressions. But taking out a mechanical printing device into nature is like taking a large format camera out. It's more intentional. The end result is of higher quality, and so it's going to force a person to really think a little bit more deeply about what they're doing, and more meditative process, I think, than a quick snapshot camera. But that's what I think it is with this typing in nature, getting these impressions and thoughts and inspirations. I was thinking about this idea of typewriting in nature, and I thought that it kind of reinforces the idea that we are a living species also in nature, yet we're the only living species that has symbolic language and can aesthetically appreciate our environment. And we're the only species that really uses tools to the extent that we do. So taking these tools, like a writing tool, like a typewriter out here, and being able to make reflections and impressions onto paper as an animal species in nature is kind of an interesting thought. There's a dichotomy there. Using these mechanical devices out in nature is kind of the epitome of nature reflecting on itself. I mean, these typewriters are made from natural resources found in nature, machined and engineered for these specific uses. And here we are, this animal species with a spirit, and we're out in nature with our mechanical device, and we can type about nature, we can reflect on nature. And it's very interesting doing this. There's a dichotomy, obviously, between the mechanical world and the natural world, yet it's all part of nature. So I hope to spend some time here today really reflecting on where I'm at and what it means to have this little preserved place in the midst of on the edge of the big metropolis. It means a lot. There's this historic lineage of mechanical type that goes from the mid-15th century with Gutenberg in Germany all the way up to nearly the end of the 20th century with the last of the mechanical typewriters, and really daisy wheel electric typewriters is where it kind of ends. But it's about mechanical type, an engraved letter on a die, making an imprint of ink onto paper. This is a 5.5 century long tradition in the vast expanse of human printing technology and writing technology that's pretty much come to an end with now the rise of offset printing and inkjet and computerized and laser printing. But that's what this mechanical typewriter is. You go back all the way to ancient times with clay tablets and then papyrus and other forms of writing technology up through the paper, which we still have. But as far as mechanized printing with movable type, the typewriter is the end of the line. And so there's a lineage here, which kind of reminds me of the nature setting I'm in, because many artists and writers throughout the centuries used nature as a setting for their inspiration. And the fact that I'm out here with the last of the mechanical printing methods in nature is very inspirational, thinking about the historical lineage of it. Well, I did some typing, as I said I would. I came here to type, and what I got is, I don't know, a series of reflections and observations. The bluebird landing upon Portal's ledge, impervious to my human presence in this human-built structure. Is there no real difference to him between myself and the rest of nature? It's all nature to nature. These portals, windows from somewhere to somewhere, seem to delineate some artificial boundary that otherwise wouldn't exist without this artificially constructed observation point. There would just be nature, no walls, no false barriers to separate us from them, myself from the other. In our quest to observe more circumspectly, we end up building a barrier between ourselves and what's being observed. The Sandia crest overlooks the beauty here, past the green of spring, leaves vibrating in the spring breeze, the cool air refreshing. Birds of many kinds are heard in the distance, along with the roar of high-flying jets, spewing hydrocarbons into the stratosphere. You can't get away from the seemingly permanent change our species has wrought upon this planet. Spiders' webs wafting in the breeze in the upper corner of the shelter. Its geometric regularity a marvel to behold. What does that little insect think when it's crafting its web? How does it know to do that? I still wonder and am amazed. The stripes of shadow and light from the roof reminds me of zebras' stripes on the African steppes. Patterns of light and shadow are seen everywhere in nature, the bane of the photographer, who finds technical challenges in those extremes of dark and light. Yet the challenge is a false dichotomy, because it's not that we wish to see into those shadows and stripes of light, but that we know they're there and what made them. We seem too caught up in the technical details and miss the larger aesthetic purpose. The coming and going of the rustling leaf sound, stirred by the morning breeze, alternates in cycles of relative calm and a louder stirring, unseen, invisible by mere mortals. From whence comes the stirring? Mortals for centuries have wondered at the moving of the spirit, the pneuma, that which we breathe and which breathes us, for we are all part of one continuum. It's suddenly calm again, and I'm reminded of the wall of division that we erect in our mind to separate our own selves from the outside externality. Walls and barriers are a self-defense for the ego, for the sense of oneself. We feel as if we can move and more become our own autonomous, self-actualizing being through these walls we erect that define the inside from the outside. This nature preserve observation area so much is a dichotomy, a falsehood erected to support the notion that mankind's existence is separate from nature, which we can return to with these kinds of low-stress, low-commitment places where seeing nature is like to observe the rectangular screen of a television, flat, and further separate from ourselves. Here, there is no wilderness. This is Joe Van Cleve. Have a good day.